This is ITV.
Certainly, though.
All right, now a very good morning to you, and thanks for joining us on our program, our ultimate program on television this morning on ITV. You're welcome to Wednesday, and of course the 18th day of February 2026. It's a good one that we made it through, and gradually we're moving towards the end of February, and that's just the way it is. Well, I'm not always alone on this program. I have my co-anchors, and of course I have you there, the viewer watching, and ensuring that the program counts today. Winston Marshall is right here with me on set. Winston, a very good morning to you.
Yeah, beautiful Wednesday morning, quite cold. You just get it confused with the raining and the dry season. What is really going on? No demarcation anymore. The rains came early this year, and I wonder what that is.
Yeah, we're already in the rainy season, for the first time in a long time that we are seeing bouts of rain in February.
Yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, around this time, you have that weather that you have the heat period, and heat comes and all that. But this year, I think we are lucky enough to have the rain early. Only the fact that I just hope it's not going to negatively impact on the construction of roads going around in Benin City and
Even
parts of
farming
the states.
activities also, like we need to cut the grasses, we need to allow them to get dry before we incinerate. But right now, I don't think farmers know what they're doing anymore.
All right, the resurgence of cult activities in Benin City, it's, assuming another worrisome dimension again. We thought that the governor of the day had really arrested, cultism, cult activities in Benin City. Only recently we saw the few arrests that were made yesterday, and of course some persons that have been demanded by the Edo State government to make themselves available, in government house in Benin City. I really don't understand what is going on with it. I mean, this idea of one step forward and 4 steps backward.
Well, you just cannot say it's 1 step forward and 4 steps backward, because the government, this particular administration, they got it on the wraps. If you take a look at the Christmas period, New Year period, there was no case of counting scores and all that compared to previous years. You get to hear about shooting, killings and all that, okay? Of course, there will be dissidents. People that don't want to listen, people don't want to prove that they are above the law. And the government of the day is practically, seriously, going out for them, because it's a clear instruction: do not kill. Must you make your own to be so loud negatively? You're given 1 or 2 things to do. Okay, if you must be a member, okay, fine, if you want to, but must you go killing? Because that is the end of this. Why would you go snuff at life at their prime? Do you know how dangerous it is for a society to be losing their youth at a particular point in time? Do you know creativity that would have been, put in place by these youth, snuffed out before their time? It's crazy. But I like what the government is doing right now. He said, look, 3 Okaigeles, they've been fingered, they've been told to come clear their names. Arrests were made. I think that is a start. That is definitely a start. I believe that the government of the day, they are doing their best to make sure that the youths have a free day in Edo State, a free day in Benin City, so that they can attract investors. It's very, very annoying, and it's so sad. It's so sad indeed.
The truth of the matter, Wilson, is that we are killing ourselves. It is we that we are killing. I mean, we're not killing any other person. We are killing we. So it is a call for urgent attention. I mean, for us to understand these things, because the truth of the matter, you are killing your brother. That's just it. So we have to stop, and that's just it. All right, so we've got Abuja and Lagos here with us this morning on the program too. So let's go to Lagos. Lagos is closer to us here. We'll have Messalina, pretty Messalina on set. Messalina, a very good morning to you.
Beautiful morning to you, Wilson. It's a Wednesday morning, a raining Wednesday morning here in Lagos. I mean, I was so surprised when I saw the rain this morning. Okay, I would say I like what the government of Edo State is doing at this point, because, I mean, the killing is too much, you know, practicing cultism, killing and all of that. You know, I saw a video yesterday of the arrest. Some of the guys were, oh, I'm just not into cultism. And other one says, oh, the other one accepted that I'm into cultism. I mean, killing your brothers, killing people, it's not a good one at all. Now that the government, Edo State government, has put it upon themselves, you know, to start arresting those persons, maybe it will make others to learn and want to do the right thing. Okay, basically from Lagos, we are still going to be talking about what we discussed last week, Wednesday, about the electronic transfer of election results. You know, yesterday we saw again another protest in Abuja, and those protesters were tear gassed yesterday, and we also saw that the Senate had another plenary section, and we also saw that the House of Representatives also in this patch. It's still trending, and people are still not finding it funny, you know, against the forthcoming 2027 election. I mean, the Senate already said if there's, you know, network glitch, they will switch to manual, and the people do not want it. All they're saying with the video I saw yesterday of the protest, they are saying that the Nigerians are saying that they want a free and fair election, and if manual should be an alternative, they will not get free and fair election. So we're having a legal practitioner and also Dr. Victor Ohai, a UN humanitarian ambassador, that will be helping us talking about analyzing this particular topic today from Lagos. So basically from Lagos, that is what we're going to be talking about today from this table.
All right, so let's quickly see Abuja now. Abuja, Mercy said it rained in Lagos this morning, so we guess that the rain was so expansive. I mean, it's also rained in Benin here, so we do not know whether it was the same thing in Abuja. So let's have our Tolu. Tolu, a very good morning.
It's a little bit windy right here at the top of the hill in Pape, Abuja, but unfortunately, there is no rain. I guess you guys in Benin enjoying showers of rain. And you really need it at this point in time, especially with the heat coming up. It's important that you have rain, and I hope that it will really make things a little bit cool, calm for you guys right there in Benin and also in Lagos. But for us in Abuja, it's windy a little bit, so we're enjoying the cool atmosphere, and the weather is clement at the top of the hill. But talking about the weather being clement at the top of the hill, but it's not clement in other parts of Abuja, considering the fact that the NCT election will be coming up this Saturday. And looking at history and pedigree of the parties contesting this election, there has never been a time where the ruling party totally dominated the NCT area council elections. But some people are saying probably this year might be different, with so many parties switching to APC, and the fact that there is so much controversy concerning the eligibility of candidates of PDP, owing to the fact that nobody's sure which party. So a lot of candidates are skeptical on their chances on running on the platform of PDP, and that has also seemed to be giving a little bit of support to APC. But, you know, like it has always been in LCT, the ruling party doesn't dominate. So probably the wish of the people will definitely carry the day, and the candidacy of those running for offices will also determine how much they are loved by their people. But it's going to be an interesting time, for not forgetting the fact that we will also be deploying reporters across the 6 area council, monitoring the election from all the area councils, and also the studio will be open here to also continue to give the citizen feedback concerning the election. So we are looking forward to an interesting election come Saturday, and want to see whether the ruling party will hold sway, or probably the other parties will determine, or like it has always been, it will be shared among the parties right there. So we're looking forward to see that, and that's what we'll be discussing from the Abuja Network Studio, Evans.
All right, Solo, thank you so much for that. Now we're seeing FCT's election, which is synonymous with local government election in other parts of the country. You know, it beats my imagination. Where we always find a ruling party, just like what Tolu said. The ruling party oftentimes not being able to win a major votes.
But right now, as it stands right now, if you take a look at the Federal Capital Territory election, you get to realize one point: other parties, they are shaky. Too many litigations. If let's say, okay, fine, let's say the two major political parties, they are shaky. PDP, Labour Party. You get to see factions here and there. They have litigations here and there. Tell me which candidate or aspirant who want to pitch tent with a political party that has too much
even the APC,
I mean,
remember the APC, the World Congress is around the corner. And from what we understand, that's already shaking the fabrics of the APC already.
You know what, APC, they have this mechanism of trying to putting their house in order before the D-Day. But right now, they don't have the Congress yet. Abuja election is this Saturday. So take it or leave it, they have an edge. Because you have the PDP, you know the story too well. Labour Party, you have the Abure faction, one other faction. You know the story too well. What about the ADC? They're just trying to come together. That is going to give APC an edge. I don't want to take it to another, because if you take a look at permutation and combination, a political calculation, they get to realize that the most stable political party for now, I use the word now,
I just hope you're not campaigning for the APC.
I am not campaigning. I'm taking a look at the handwriting on the wall. Now, peradventure, maybe, just maybe, a PDP candidate comes out top. Do you think that APC or the Labour Party will not go use the political party's litigation case in court to fight against the winner?
Okay. All right, so still talking about election, it was a rowdy session again yesterday at the Senate, though an emergency plenary session was held whereby an amendment was made again. But this time, they call it the 2026 Repeal Amendment INEC Act. So that now has given INEC the ability to tinker, that's the word now, to tinker as it relates to the timetable. So remember, we're coming from the background of religious concerns. I mean, immediately INEC released the election timetable. Then, of course, we saw, we saw religious concerns. Some religious group saying that it's going to the Ramadan fast. The Christian also saying there's a fast that period. So with this latest amendment now, so INEC is going to go back to their drawing table to see how they are going to reschedule the election, so that at the end of the day, it's not going to affect Ramadan fast and also the fast that is going to be at that time with Christians. And of course, that's going to be our major talking points from Benin this morning, where we're going to be looking at the 2027 election one more time and looking at religious concerns as we'll look at the issues. All right, so we'll take a short break now, and we'll join the corporate trainer, where he takes us into his corporate world in Ogata Nusakai. And of course, after which we go over to Lagos. Miss Elena will take us through the major newspapers this morning. Don't forget, the program is this morning on ITV, and we urge you to sit back. A very good morning.
Onuagata Nosahai is still my name, and you are especially welcome to this segment of the program. We have been looking at engaging emotional intelligence to drive workplace productivity, and we have been doing that from a case scenario perspective. Since the last 3 to 4 weeks, we have looked at different case scenario, situated in the public sector, in ICT, in health, and and then we have looked at how the presence of self-awareness and self-regulation, which are 2 key pillars of emotional intelligence, how they help manage crises, in the workplace, especially as it relates to, government agencies and government parastatal. Today, we are also going to look at the effects of the absence of self-awareness and self-regulation in the Nigerian State Ministry of Education. That is the case scenario we are going to be considering this morning. The effect of the absence of self-awareness and self-regulation in the Nigerian State Ministry of Education. Now, emotional intelligence, for the benefit of those that are joining me on this series for the first time, I've always defined emotional intelligence within the workplace context. And within the workplace context, I've said that emotional intelligence is your ability as a leader, it's your ability as a boss, it's your ability as a team head to ensure workplace emotional stability with the knowledge of how to manage your emotions and the knowledge of how to manage the emotion of your people, of your workers, of your team members, or of your employees. This is very, very important. And self-awareness, which is the foundational pillar of emotional intelligence, is understanding how your emotions, how your drives, how your strengths and weaknesses, how they affect outcome. How does your emotions, how does your, your drive, how does your strengths and weaknesses affect your behavior? How does it affect other people? How does it affect performance outcome in the workplace? That is what self-awareness is summarily all about. Self-regulation is the ability to control or redirect, disruptive impulses so as to adapt behaviors for optimal results. Self-regulation is about being able to lead and manage yourself for better outcome. These are very key, foundational points you need to understand, foundational nuggets you need to understand concerning emotional intelligence. And today, like I said, we are looking at the effect of the absence of self-awareness and self-regulation in the Nigerian State Ministry of Education. That is the case scenario we are considering this morning. And the case scenario goes thus. It is the beginning of a new academic term. A circular is released from the ministry announcing an immediate redeployment of over 200 secondary school teachers across several local government areas. However, some postings contain errors. Rural hardship allowances were not clearly addressed. Several teachers were moved without prior consultation. Within 48 hours, teachers' unions issue protest threats. Social media begins criticizing the ministry. Principals complain about staff shortages. Radio stations pick up the story. Excuse me. An emergency management meeting is called. Now, we are going to look at what happened in this case scenario in the Nigerian State Ministry of Education, in the absence of self-awareness. That is what we are going to zero on first of all. An emergency meeting has been called, and then let's just see how it progresses. Absence of self-awareness. The Honorable Commissioner for Education enters the meeting already angry. He feels embarrassed by media criticism. He feels threatened by union pressure. He feels personally attacked by social media commentary. But he does not recognize these emotions. Instead of acknowledging his frustration internally, he interprets everything as insubordination. He says, these teachers are ungrateful. Nobody should question my authority. Now, because the Commissioner of Education, in this case scenario of a Nigerian State Ministry of Education, because he lacks self-awareness, he does not realize his fear of losing control is driving his reaction. Because he lacks self-awareness, he mistakes systemic feedback for personal disrespect. These are, all functions of him lacking self-awareness. I will take that again. Because he lacks self-awareness, he does not realize his fear of losing control is driving his reaction. Because he lacks self-awareness, he mistakes systemic feedback for personal disrespect. Then let's see what the absence of self-regulation is also, causing in this case scenario. Absence of self-regulation. His emotions, that is the Commissioner of Education in this case scenario, his emotions spills over. He publicly blames the permanent secretary. He accuses directors of incompetence. He threatens disciplinary action. He orders the circular to stamp without any amendment. The atmosphere becomes tense. Senior officers go silent, and that silence is not golden. That kind of silence is not golden, because that silence is as a result of a situation where the environment becomes psychologically unsafe. And when your team members become silent, in such a situation, that silence is not golden. The atmosphere becomes tense. Senior officers go silent. No one offers corrective input. Staff feels humiliated. Now, within days, teachers embark on a warning strike. Students are sent home. The issue escalates to the governor's office. Media criticism intensifies. What began as an administrative error becomes a political crisis due to the absence of emotional intelligence components of self-awareness and self-regulation. This is what lack of emotional intelligence can cause. Simple matters that could be managed easily will escalate into very, destructive situation. Let's move forward. What would have happened if self-awareness and self-regulation were present in this situation? Obviously, the outcome of the scenario will be very different, seriously different. Now, if self-awareness were present, before reacting, the commissioner will recognize, I feel embarrassed by the backlash. I am under pressure. My frustration is about reputation, not rebellion. Now, that is self-awareness, if self-awareness were present. By understanding his emotional triggers, he will separate personal ego from institutional responsibility. That is what self-awareness will help to do in this kind of situation. That self-awareness will prevent defensive leadership. Now, what will happen if self-regulation were present? Instead of reacting emotionally, he might say, that is the commissioner, he might say, this situation is serious. Let's calmly review the facts and address legitimate concerns. He would invite honest feedback. He would ask why consultation gaps occurred. He would consider phased implementation. He would engage junior leaders constructively, not emotionally. Now, because emotions will be controlled, staff will speak openly. Because why would they speak openly? There is psychological safety. The man is willing to listen. He has been able to control his emotion, starting from the foundation of self-awareness. He migrated into self-regulation, and everybody feels safe to contribute. So because emotions will be controlled, staff will speak openly, corrections will be made quickly, teachers' concern will be addressed, industrial action will likely be avoided, the circular will be revised, the circular could be revised within 72 hours, preserving authority without escalating situations. So in conclusion, what are the practical lessons from the case scenario for Nigerian public sector leaders? One, absence of self-awareness turns feedback into personal attack. Absence of self-awareness turns feedback into personal attack. Without self-awareness, leaders interpret criticism as disrespect rather than information. This leads to defensive and ego-driven decisions. Two lessons for Nigerian public sector leaders from this case scenario. The second lesson, absence of self-regulation escalates small errors into big crises. When leaders react emotionally through threats, shouting, or rigid directives, tension multiplies and silence replaces solutions. Then the third lesson, emotional intelligence protects institutional stability. In Nigeria's public sector institutions, where pressure from unions, media, and political stakeholders is constant, emotional intelligence prevents avoidable crisis. I'll take that again. Emotional intelligence protects institutional stability. In Nigeria's public institutions, where pressure from unions, media, and political stakeholders is constant, emotional intelligence prevents avoidable crisis. The final takeaway, when self-awareness is missing, leaders misread situations. When self-regulation is missing, leaders overreact. But when both are present, authority is preserved, things feel safe to speak, problems are corrected early, crises are prevented. In public service, emotional intelligence is not optional. It is essential for sustainable leadership. I believe that lots of value have been added to you today. I want you as a leader, especially in the public sector space, to take building emotional intelligence capacity very serious, starting with the foundation of self-awareness and self-regulation. It will help you to become a better leader. I'll be seeing you next week, Wednesday. And when I return, I will say, remain amiable. Inuagata no Sahai. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.
The man went out to bring in thugs. It's not like that. Do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking
that's
about...
what I said. So
that's...
when they bullied her,
Yeah.
if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Party.
You have to be
They
smart.
can't sit
If
down.
you see when they are dressing them or are dragging on both sides, you cannot breathe. And these women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
It's not healthy.
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
ITV, certainly the best.
some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Yari yari, Ọba Tope.
The Oba of Benin added a colorful mood to the year's celebration as he walks round the city center amidst cheers.
Many thanks for staying with us. TMI this beautiful morning on ITV, and we would be reviewing the newspaper this beautiful morning. And our guest that would be helping us review the newspaper would be joining us via Zoom, Dr. Victor Ohai, a UN Humanitarian Ambassador. Hello, Doctor. Good morning, if you can hear me. All right, the papers we would be starting with this morning is the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. The Nigerian Tribune newspaper, the big headline there says, Electoral Amendments Bill, Senate and Division Reps in Rowdy's section. You get that on page 4 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. A writer says, as lawmakers pass e-transmission with manual backup. Another writer says, minority reps walk out on session as Green Chamber reduces a timeline on notice of election to 300 days. Another one says, INEC to review election timeline to exclude Ramadan period. Okay, you get that on page 4 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Nigeria losses 8 trillion naira yearly to concession waivers, reps. You get that on page 16 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Another one says, prioritize investments in human capital to drive $1 trillion ambition, World Bank tells Nigeria. You get that on page 13 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Okay, another headline there says, El Rufai spends second day in EFCC court study. You get that on page 4 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Okay, another headline that says, Sultan confirms move sighting, declares today first day of Ramadan. You get that on page 28 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Chaos as Ondo APC meetings turn bloody. You get that on page 3. Subwriter says, hoodlums disrupt meeting, beat party chairman, injure other leaders. Another one says, government deny thuggery allegations, reaffirmed commitment to peaceful politics. You get that on page 3 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Let's get to you, Dr. Victor Ohai. The big headline there says, Electoral Amendments Bill, Senate in Division, Reps in Rowdy's session. I mean, we saw the video yesterday. What would you have to say about this? What is your take on this? All right, we're still on the papers review this morning. We'll quickly go on a short break. We'll be right back. So stay with us. I can't hear him. And I don't understand how I'm looking.
the man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking
That's
about
what I said. So
that's-
when they bullied her,
Yeah.
now, if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Newspaper, we paper. Just still me not looking at the paper. Big one that says 27 K back electoral van page 5 on on the Vanguard newspaper. Manufacturers, agri sector face up to 60% interest in sales. Nigerian industrial policy demands speedy implementation. You get that on page 9. Dangote signs $400 million equipment deal to fast-track refinery expansion. You get that on page 19 on the Vanguard newspaper. Armed men abduct 6 travelers on Makurdi Naka Road. Demands 100 million naira ransom. You get that also on page on the newspaper. Nigeria, no our judgments, ECOWAS calls lament. You get that on page 9. Dr. Victor Ohai. Let's take a look at the big headlines there that says 2027 reps cave in back Senate on Electoral Act amendment. What would you have to say about that if you can hear me? Okay, we are not able to get to Dr. Victor. We just go straight to the next papers. The Daily Independent newspaper this morning, the big headlines on the Daily Independent says, judge me by factories, jobs, not policy count. Tinubu. You get that on page you get that on the Daily Independent newspaper. A writer says, unveils Nigerian industrial policy 2025. Another one says, charges stakeholders on speedy implementation. Another one says admin recognizes believed in youth potentials. Okay, you get that on the Daily Independent newspaper. Electoral Act amendments, police disperse protesters at NAS. You get that also on the Daily Independent. FCT pulls INEX ashore of real-time e-transmission of results. You also get that on the Daily Independent newspaper. Another headline there says, capital allocation interior minister into. You get that on page 7 on the Daily Independent newspaper. Bandits kidnap sis in Benwell, demand 100 million naira ransom. You get that on page 7 on the Daily Independent newspaper. Another headline says, NRS announces phase rollout timeline for e-invoicing EFS regime. You get that on page 6 on the Daily Independent newspaper. Reps make U-turn, okay manual in transmission of election results. You get that on page 6 on the Daily Independent newspaper. Another headline there says, Jesse Jackson, civil rights leader, dies at 84. You get that on page 25 on the Daily Independent newspaper. Do well to grab your copy, grab a copy and go through the papers. Okay, the next papers we would be looking at this morning is the Guardian newspaper. The big headlines on the Guardian newspaper says 2027 elections take shape as APC majority prevails. Legal tussle looms. You get that on page 6 on the Guardian newspaper. Niger residents flee Benin Republic as terrorists invade Burgun again. You get that on page 3 on the Guardian newspaper. Party affiliation. You get that on page 3 on the newspaper. That said, lumps in disrupt stakeholders in Ondo State. You get that on page 7 on the Guardian newspaper. 1,000 Lagos police officers benefit from Someone Lose Free Eye Care initiative. You also that on page 7 on the Guardian newspaper. Do well to grab a copy. Another headline that says Kogi to attack on page 3 on the guide. These would drop surgery and also 5 billion news. And now with this paper, the still the Senate reopens electoral acts. House side decisions aligned with upper chambers on transmission of results. You get that on page 10 on this day newspaper. Another headline there says protests rock NAFDAC over sachet alcohol banned. You get that on also on this day newspaper. Another headline there's okay, that is all we've got on this day newspaper. The next newspaper would be looking at The Nation newspaper. The big headlines on The Nation newspaper says lawmakers okay transmission 300-day election notification. This is trending currently. That is the big headline on The Nation newspaper this morning. Another headline says Fubara ready with 20 nominees as commissioners. You get that on page 3, also on The Nation newspaper. World leaders mourn influential African-American Jesse Jackson. You get that on page 27 on The Nation newspaper. Dangote's 900 billion naira 2025 taxes aside federal government. You also get that on The Nation newspaper. Another headline there says 21 die in Abia Ogun Road accident. You get that on page 7 on The Nation newspaper. Another headline there says Ramadan Lent season begin today. You get that also on page 12 on The Nation newspaper. This is all we've got for you on the papers review this morning. Do well to grab a copy out there and go through them. Thank you for joining us on the papers review this morning from our Lagos Network studio. We're still on CMI. Just stay with us as we hand over to our Benin Network studio where Evans is on standby for the continuation on CMI.
right, thank you so much. Right on your television, the program this morning on ITV, Wednesday's edition. Yes, we told you that we are going to continue our discussion this morning on the 2027 presidential election. As a matter of fact, the general election that holds next year. Now, we have seen the date that INEC has released, and we've also seen the reactions and counter-reactions trailing the date. And just yesterday, we saw another session, another emergency plenary session at the Senate, whereby the senators had to come together to make amendments, another amendment this time, but not on the election timetable as it were, but an act of INEC, and that will enable INEC to look into the dates one more time that INEC has set. Now remember the date of the presidential election to be held on the 20th of February 2027. And the reactions have been that it's going to overlap on the Ramadan fast. And we also understand that some Christian sects also have reacted that it will overlap on their own festivity or on their own religious activity at that time. But we've seen recently, most especially just this morning, as a matter of fact, this morning, whereby a pastor, that's Dami Magu, Grace of Mercy Prayer Mountain Worldwide, as a matter of fact, Prophet Sam Olu Alao, they have backed up the date, saying that Nigerians ought to be very happy. Because if we say that the election is going to be true during the Ramadan fast, then it means that we expect a truthful election, because some Muslims are going to be voting and some of them are going to be observers. So what it's trying to say is that there's no way a fasting Muslim, as it were, won't want to be truthful in the election. So you've seen that it's been a case of counter-reactions. It's been a case of reactions and counter-reactions. To look at all this this morning, we are so privileged to have two gentlemen here. Please join us to welcome Nuruddin Asulugi. He's an Islamic cleric and, of course, an opinion and affairs analyst on our program. So you're welcome to the program this morning on ITV.
Good morning, viewers. Thank you for having me.
Okay. And also we also have Pastor Benson Ogirake. So you're welcome to the program this morning on ITV.
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir.
All right. So Nuruddin Asulugi, I'll start with you. We've seen the reactions and counter-reactions. I mean, the Ramadan fast is going to be at that time that the INEC has set the election. As it stands now, no shifts in the time has been made. We're all waiting, except the fact that the Senate yesterday made some amendment. Now, how do we react to all this? I mean, looking at the Ramadan fast and, of course, the set dates with INEC.
Well, you see, it's unfortunate that we are a country where we do not plan, and so we run into avoidable issues. All of these were predictable. And so INEC needed to appreciate the issue of inclusivity in planning. INEC needed to integrate a whole lot of things that INEC did not do. And what INEC has not done represents a condensed metaphor for the totality of the planlessness that had driven this country and taken us where we are. We would not have been where we are. Why does one say this? A peregrination into history tells you that similar whatever had happened in 2003 when INEC fixed an election, governorship election, on a day that was preceding the Easter Sunday. They had to make a shift. That date was known, was capable of being known. That INEC maintained an attitude of insouciance showed the capacity of those persons who were in the planning department. You are dealing with human beings. And in dealing with human beings, you needed to integrate the totality of what makes them what they are. And so when you become indifferent, maintain an attitude of insouciance or superciliousness towards the feelings and sensibilities of these persons, then you have the kind of issues that we have. It was INEC who was interested in this controversy. Otherwise, it was an avoidable one.
All right, he said it's an avoidable one. Well, this question will come to you. You heard of his own stand, drawing an analogy from what happened in 2003. But Nigeria, the state, is a circular state. Should Nigeria, will I say INEC, base an election on religious sentiment in court? Pastor.
Thank you very much. You know, actually, like what he was saying just now, I am 100% in support of that. Why did I say so? There is no way anybody can actually execute an act or taking a decision that you know is not on your personal interest alone, but is in the interest of others, which are part of the event that is to take place. So what you are supposed to do is to come to a place of planning. Then after planning, it's not just to come out and make the announcement, but you should be able to get to other quarters and say, okay, we are giving tentatively so and so date. Then if the quarters that are involved are now said yes, it will be convenient for us, then you know that you now say, okay, you make your conclusion, then you come out to make a pronouncement or announcement and say, this is what you want to do. But in a case where you just, as a section in, as far as this country is concerned, because it's the INEC, then you just make your meeting within that circle and you come out to make the announcement. So you are, when you look at it, it is not good and it's not something that should be welcomed. So it should be that they're supposed to take up a step and try to make sure that as far as every other persons that are involved, because when you look at the issue of election, it's not to a particular aspect. It's something that have to do with the totality of the entire Nigerians. So you should be able to consider others. You know, the ability for a leader to be able to carry everybody along is what make and demonstrate your strength. So what is there is that they should supposed to plan ahead and make sure that whatever it is that they have done, that is something that is inclusive of everybody before coming out to make the announcement. Then what I want to add to it is that, you know, as far as it has happened like that, so there is nothing that we should kill ourselves for. So we should come to a round table. Let's see how everybody will be carried along. So it's our country, and it's something that can be done in peace.
All right, now, Nuruddin, I'm going to be asking the next question, two questions in one, because, I mean, good enough, just yesterday we saw the Senate, you know, going through the repeal and enactment bill 2026. That is, it now gives, that part of the Constitution has been amended, so it gives room for INEC to reschedule the election. But again, it appears that some of us are not, you know, understanding with INEC that INEC is working within the Constitution. I mean, this whole idea of the election ab initio, there is a time frame for it. You know, it must not exceed that time frame. So rather than trying to cast aspersion on INEC, why don't we understand this whole totality first, Nuruddin?
Well, first and foremost, let me clarify what he said. We are not a secular state.
Oh, really?
That's not true. Your secularism is that you have pigeonholed God. He knows the national pledge. Part of it is, O God of creation. Where do you bring that? There is a constitutional provision that talks so much about God. So we are not a secular state. Secularism will mean that God is irrelevant in our affair. As Nigerians, even in the United States of America that started democracy, God, whatever is first there, so let's not go, that will be for another day. INEC is not constrained by any constitutional provision. What does it say? You must organize an election
within a time
not earlier than 150 days to the expiration of the time of the one who is the present occupant, and not less than 30 days. What does that give to you? Window for maneuverability. And so it was, there was no Senate, there was no Senate sitting to amend what was what was done in 2003 for there to be a shift in date. So INEC was still within time. What INEC has consistently said is that this is our regulation. That was the explanation INEC gave, that the third Saturday of the election, whatever month, must be. Who says it must be?
Yeah,
we are dealing with human beings. So it's not a constitutional thing. There will be no infraction, because what the Senate is doing now, what the Senate does by this supposed amendment that provides a window for INEC to do what INEC was ab initio empowered to do, will still have become invalid, because the Senate cannot so much to take a decision that invalidates the Constitution. The Constitution, if it was a constitutional constraint that made it impossible for INEC to accommodate what we are saying now, the Senate or National Assembly and the other procedures that are required to be followed, which of course will involve the state assembly, will have to naturally be followed for you to amend the Constitution for them to be able to do that. It was not an infraction or a likelihood of an infraction of any constitutional provision that made INEC do. Why they acted the way they did is either that they choose to be mischievous, or it was the issue of absence of deep planning, or a combination of the two.
Okay, now quickly, remember I said two questions in one. Now, I just wanted to react, because some of the reactions are that this ought to have been the best election. I mean, for us to have the election during the Ramadan, I mean, the months of purity, so to say. So as a Muslim...
No, those who manipulate election, it's just the same argument about should the election be manually transmitted or electronically transmitted. It depends on the robustness of the ethical resource. The individual who is involved, whether it is manual or electronic, you do not dispense with the individual element. It is what is the depth, you begin to talk about what constitutes the ethical resource of this individual. And so whether I am fasting or not fasting is beside the point. If I become desperate, then fasting is not going to serve as a restraint. And in any case, those who get involved in manipulation of election are usually not those who go to vote. They are not the ones who manipulate. The one who would manipulate will manipulate because ab initio there was the absence of God. For the lives of such individual, God is permanently on sabbatical. And so whether it is in Ramadan, it is in Lenten season, they will do what is in their nature to do, is in their DNA.
All right. Well, I have this question for you, but I want to, clear the air. You said that Nigeria is not a secular state. If Nigeria is not a secular state, what kind of state are we operating?
We are a multi-religious state.
Multi-religious state.
Yes.
Fine. You say we're multi-religious. Now, if we are a multi-religious state, does that mean that if any something to celebrate during a particular electioneering frame, should the election date be shifted? We have other worshippers, traditional institutions, they are there. We have Hindu, we have Buddhism here in Nigeria. If they want to celebrate and peradventure election for a particular time frame, should it be shifted?
Okay, so I want to look at it from this point. If I want to look at it critically,
yes,
this is not to offend anybody. But you discover that as far as this nation is concerned, when it comes to the issue of election, it's not supposed to be influenced by any religious activities, because it's something that have to do with the nation as a whole. Whatever religion that anybody is practicing, you find out that it's a part, just like as I was talking about, of other religions that are within. Which means the country is bigger than a religion. So I will feel that as far as the country have already taken a decision in setting the date that is supposed to be followed, but not mind if a particular set of people, or at that time it cannot be feasible for them in a role of trying to have peace, to toll the role of peace. I will suggest that let's come to a round table and talk. It's not about this religion coming together. No, I'm talking about the government.
Yeah.
Should be able to come and reason together and say, okay, as far as this set of people have complained that at that time it will not be convenient for them, then they should be able to say, okay, let's sort up another date, which will be able to carry everybody along.
Because you know why I asked you this question. Evans asked the question. Yeah. The Constitution of Nigeria and various religions in Nigeria, which should be supreme? Because right now it's all about Constitution, and I can be given a kind of a political time frame to conduct an election based on Constitution. Should you focus on religion or on Constitution, which are normal ground norm?
We are telling you now that there is no constitutional provision that is violated, because the same Constitution you are referring to in section 38 gives the freedom of religion. In answering the question you have asked, some persons have gone to court, and this is a Supreme Court decision, to say we are disenfranchised. Muslims will naturally go to mosques on Friday, the Christians will go to church on Sunday. So elections are never conducted on these 2 days. There is a group that goes to worship that says our day is Sabbath. And so they went to court, challenging an election, a particular election result. To say we didn't participate. The court heard that whereas it was true that they had been disenfranchised, the only reason why that result was, the outcome of that election was allowed to stand was because when they took statistics of what the number was, assuming if they were 1 million, the one who won had won by 1 million one vote. And so if the totality of your number had chosen to vote for the loser, he still would have become a loser by 1 vote. And so the Constitution does not deal with the issue of what is the number of those practicing this faith in answering your question squarely. Now, if the religious right is being infringed upon, the Constitution guarantees it for that individual. So INEC is not going to be operating outside the provision of the Constitution. I just told you what INEC is saying. This is our guidelines. The constitutional window says you can do this elsewhere. A window of opportunity was given. It's like you coming to ITV. You could choose to come from this direction or come from that direction, but do not become fixated to insist that it must be just one route when there are multiple ways of coming in.
Now, Nuruddin, I don't want to ask the question, that what is in Ramadan, that maybe somebody going through the Ramadan fast cannot, be involved in something else, because like what some persons are saying, that these people fasting during the Ramadan, the Muslims fasting during the Ramadan, with all due respect now, that they do other activities. They go to work, and they have other national activities that somehow, that they do during the Ramadan fast. Yeah. So, ordinarily, I don't want to ask the question whether the Ramadan is. How do we get here? Let me put it that way.
The last days, what people do, maximize the benefits of the Ramadan. And you know what they do? You could go out, conduct your research to verify this. We just started fasting now. In the last 10 days, they are out of their homes. They go to a mosque, and it must be a mosque where every Friday there is a congregational prayer, so that they will have no reason. Every worldly affair, they sequester themselves from it. Those who have resources will say, we want to do it in a much better environment where we will not be distracted. They travel to Saudi Arabia. And so that is within the period. And again, do not forget that if you get involved in an electionary campaign, it is taxing, is demanding for all of these persons. And so these persons are saying, whereas we can have this outside this period we are doing this, why must we insist that we'll have it? Because it will. There are sacrifices I could make when alternatives do not exist. Once there is an alternative, some of us have our children in universities where we are paying a humongous sum of money. I pay. If I had had the opportunity of having them in a federal institution where what I probably pay in one semester, in one session, could take that child for the 5 years course the child is doing, why would I take the child there? But I am constrained, not because I have excess money. It doesn't matter if I have to borrow to do so. And so you must juxtapose all of this. And so it's not as simplistic as, oh, I go to farm during Ramadan, I do this. I don't go to farm, for example. There are persons who deliberately take their leave to coincide with the last 10 days of Ramadan. They go into exclusion. They say, we want to maximize this relationship. And you now say, because of election, we'll pull you out to come and vote. Those who are running for the whatever may be interested. And the quality of an election, more often than not, is a reflection of those, the true number of persons who have come. We have seen a situation where people are scanty. The result that you get is something else. And so when people truly come and participate in an election, what does that tell you? It means that they are prepared to own the process. And so if the umpire of this election is going to now hamstrung these persons, create barriers that makes it practically, because if you have to make a choice, regardless how imbecilic it may sound or infantile, you were asked to make a choice between what you think is spiritual and what is mundane, you are most likely going to settle for the spiritual.
All right. Hold on. Break now. We have to take this short break. We'll have to take this short break. Now, the program you're watching is still this morning on ITV, on independent television, and we are following the discussions on the 2027 general elections and the reactions and counter-reactions, whereby religious concerns are already trailing that the Ramadan is around the period, that's the time set for the election, and of course, one Christian or two Christian activities right there. So we'll be right back. We'll take a short break. Please stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you one more time. The program is still on your television this morning on ITV, and Nuruddin Asilugi is our guest this morning, and also Pastor Benson Ogira here. We are looking at the religious concerns trailing the INEC election for next year, the presidential election 2027. Now, Pastor Benson Ogira here, a lot of persons, just like I was sharing with you backstage, yes, a lot of Christians, they want to know which particular Christian activity they will have in February. Because I know that the first major Christian activity in the year happens to be the Easter that starts in Lent. Yes. And by my calculation, it's some 40 days before the 40 days, it culminates into the Easter. Yes. So I'm trying to still calculate it now, because I don't know when the Lent is going to start this period, you know, and that is also another thing. For Christianity, I don't know how we got to leaving it to a particular, I'm at the risk of saying it though, leaving it to a particular denomination, the Catholic faith, you know, to do all these calculations that, okay, the Lent starts this period, it ends, that you are a pastor. Yes. Most pastors, they probably don't bother themselves over that.
Actually, you know, there is this doctrinal practice that you discover that a particular denomination have their own doctrine that they follow. So others will tell you they don't follow it that way. But like a program that have to do with Easter is for the body of Christ in the whole world. But when it comes to the aspect of the Lent, where they have to do with fasting before the Easter, is for some denominations like Catholic and all those ones. So it's not as if it's not acceptable, but you know, in the body of Christ, there is the body that have to do with that they say this is Pentecostals, this is this, but the real thing that is governing the entire body, that is our faith, is Jesus, which is our focus. And so most times those doctrinal issues is almost, in quote, I use in quote, silent to an extent when it comes to denominational practice.
All right, so for the purpose of this now, how does this whole 40 days Lent period, how does it culminate into the election that we're looking at? Because that seems to be the major concern from the Christians.
Yes, well, you discover that, like as he was also talking about, from their own perspective,
yeah, the
from their own
Ramadan
point.
fast, yeah.
Yes, so the Christians are also speaking based on that. But me as a pastor, and also knowing about the importance of election as far as this country is concerned, is that all of us should make sure that we shift ground to make sure that we have a particular time where everybody will be a part of it. But the major concern that that aches me, that make me feel so bad about the entire situation, is the lack of integrity when it comes to the aspect of our governance. Why is it so? You know, you will say something just now which was very, very true, that if they want to manipulate exams results, election results.
Yeah.
So it's not those that are actually voting. It's the leaders there. The question is, even if is...
No, I guess what he was trying to say is that when they want to manipulate, it was not specific though, but he is here, he can speak for himself. But what I got from what he said was that if they want to manipulate the result, whether the person is a Christian or a Muslim, it doesn't come to fore. I think that was what he was trying to say. Or whether the person is fasting or not, it doesn't come to bear.
The reason I'm bringing that in is because, you know, we are talking about shifting of dates. Even if it's done at a particular date that the INEC announced, or is shifted, you know, the purpose of the entire exercise is to actually get people involved, and the end point of it is to have a valid, credible results. So I am saying that whatever it is that we are doing now, whether any religious body is reacting to the date, my own point of view, which I am actually feeling bad about, is that even if all these dates are shifted, with our leaders who are actually there to make sure that the vote of all these people counts, will they be credible enough? Will they have that integrity? Will they have that fear of God to say, okay, we have been able to create this window to carry both the Muslims, the Christians, with other people along, that at the end of the entire exercise, that they themselves will come out and say, this is the true result.
All right.
Because when that happens, it gives joy to everybody. But if it now happens that even when the dates have been shifted to co-opt and to make sure that everybody exercise their franchise, will they actually make sure that their vote counts?
Good question with the vote. But you know, I love numbers. I love calculating. I love calculation. You talked about the last 10 days of Ramadan. You talked about 40 days of Lent. Putting this into consideration, INEC said from 360 days, they brought it down to 300 days for campaigning and everything about the election. Would your last 10 days affect the participation of our Muslim brothers and sisters in that particular election of Ramadan? And for you also, would the 40 days out of 300 days change anything?
But the adjustment that INEC says it has gotten addresses that, so the issue is resolved, as it were.
So that means it will not change anything?
No, it has changed.
Yeah, but we are yet to
hold on.
Now,
because
INEC has not given us a
the
new
dates
date.
yet.
Now.
You see, INEC would naturally, except INEC would conduct an election, do the voting itself, and come up with whatever result.
Yeah, we need
but
to.
if INEC requires
specifics.
human beings, I'm coming. You see, the whole exercise, INEC is regulated by law.
Yeah.
INEC is regulated by
that's
law.
what the Senate- That's what the Senate just did yesterday.
If INEC, going back to the question, if INEC, for example, says, no, we'll do what we feel like doing, INEC will be reminded that the law does not give you that latitude. INEC will be challenged.
But hold on, Madam Nuruddin, you've not answered the question.
What is the question?
You said the last 10 days
Yes.
for seclusion.
Yes.
Putting the last 10 days into consideration, and the number of days given by INEC for Nigerians to participate is really going to affect our Muslim brothers and sisters, because about Ramadan, almost 30 days. Remove 30 days from 300, we have 270 days left.
You see, my dear, the whole essence of making law is to address an anticipated trouble, or to address a trouble that is already existing. What the Senate had done, which they are hoping that the other bodies that will need to collaborate to make it come into being, is to address that problem. So that makes your question superfluous. If it was not going to address that, Senate would not have engaged itself in such superfluity. What Senate has done addresses the fear that had been expressed by the Muslims that we will be disenfranchised.
Now,
it's not for INEC to go back and adjust accordingly.
Just one more question. Now, you talked about it being superfluous in the sense that this is a country regulated by law. The law is meant for the people. The question now is, who are the people regulating the law? Because the law is meant for Nigerians. Constitution remains.
Yeah.
Because everything put into consideration, you are doing your fast, no problem. You have ample time, opportunity to take part in the election. Some are saying that some religion, in quotes, Christian, Muslim, want to show superiority over other religion in Nigeria.
No. You see, let me tell you, it's not so. If you have a right, equity would not aid the indolent. If you have a right and you choose to sleep over your right, that becomes your business. If I am insisting that this is my right, give it to me, you don't have a problem with that. Why should you? It is only when I'm saying what is due you don't give, that is when I run into problem. So if there is anybody who feels that I am genuinely denied, I gave you an example. The Seventh-day Adventists had gone to court to challenge why must election hold on a Saturday. They got whatever. Whoever has not approached, so if there is another faith that you know that is not bothered, there are some who say we don't even care about the election. Do not forget that election is a civic obligation. Every responsible citizen must be involved. And so if citizens are now articulating around the area that we want to be responsible, but barriers are put on the way, why should we have issues? Now, and these barriers are removable. Remove them and we move on.
Pastor Benson Ogira here. We're going to continue these discussions because I've been told that we have some time.
Yes.
Now, you know, Nigeria, most times, I want to laugh, but I won't do that. Now, we're in the Fourth Republic, right?
Yes.
We've had a series of elections and all that. Now, the 1999 Constitution that we've been amending, we keep on amending it. This is perhaps since 1999 that this now came to the fore, the aspect of the electoral reenactment bill that the Senate amended yesterday. You want to, is it that Nigerians, they've not seen this? I mean, this is also not the first time that we're having the Ramadan fast. This is not the first time that we're having presidential election in February. In 2023, it was in February. In 2027, it was in February. And of course, in 2027 now, it was in February. Then in 2027, it's going to be in February. So what are we saying? Is it that we've not noticed it, then all of a sudden we are now noticing it now?
I want to say this, that it was boiled down to the agenda and the integrity of the leaders. You know, when a system is put in place that has been on ground, that have been well followed, and you discover that it has been yielding results. If it don't happen that it's being challenged, the outcome of it, whether the challenge will be accepted or not, will now depend on two things. The first one is the integrity of the leaders who are actually there to make sure that the law is followed. And the second one has to be the interest for the nation and the agenda.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we want to say a very big thank you to a foremost Islamic cleric, Nuruddin Asoloye, an Islamic scholar, and also Pastor Benson Ogira here. Thank you so much. This is all time will permit us to take now. As it stands now, the February 20th, 2027 still holds, and the March 6th for governorship election still holds. So until INEC comes up again to do the needful, because with what happened yesterday at the Senate, you know, amending the reenactment bill 2026, it gives opportunity for INEC to tinker, that's the word now, to tinker, you know, they set the dates for the election. We know that INEC is going to do the needful so that all these concerns that we've been discussing will be a thing of the past. I want to say thank you so much, gentlemen, one more time. All right, so we'll take a short pause now where we'll join Tolokbe Oguntimehe in Abuja for his segment.
In the evening of the initiation day, all the newly initiated Edion danced to the residents of the Odion Way and also visited some homes of the various senior elders, where Chief Elder Ogbede Onwonse was very conspicuous, especially at the country home of Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawo Igbenedion with his family on the night of the initiation. On the following morning, as part of the rite to be performed by the newly initiated Edion in Okada town, the initiates, led by Chief Elder Ogbede Onwonse, visited the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawo Igbenedion, at his Okada country home residence to pay homage and appreciate him for all he has done in the development of the community, which has placed Okada in world map. They also thanked him for his role in the success of their ceremony. They commended the Esama of Benin as a custodian of Benin cultural heritage and for revitalizing the age-long tradition of the age-grade ceremony.
How possible that is? At times they said the will of the people might be different from what the government do have in mind. Definitely, we will surely be taking a look. And joining me to take a look at that is no other person than the former APC former candidate of APC aspirant, talking about Alhaji Honorable Al-Hassan Aski. It's a pleasure to have you this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Gulai.
Yeah, so good to have you this morning. Also, for somebody like they say, who's been there, done there, a former aspirant for APC in the Amak Area Council election. Now we are going to another round of election this weekend, for Saturday precisely. So much has been ongoing. We've seen in the time past where the result of the election has also not been determined by the ruling party. Despite the fact that there was a time PDP were in power, they still did not dominate the FCT area council election. So do you foresee a repeat of that now, with APC dominance, dominating the gubernatorial areas, 30 governors out of 36 states, and now FCT election coming up? Do you see that possibility of APC win, or we may revert back to what it used to be, where the ruling party don't dominate?
Good morning, our viewers. Good morning, Mr. Boloi. Foremost, let me start by saying Happy Ramadan Kareem to our Muslim brothers being us in this channel. Regard to your questions, I think let us start by thanking INEC for what they have been doing in FCT, because it is a clear indication that yes, INEC is doing election with fairness in the FCT regarding the area council election. Unlike states where a governor or the state INEC can be able to declare all councillors or area council chairman won the election. So at this area, I think INEC need to be applauded for doing a credible and fair election in the FCT. Well, to your own observation, or what we are saying, is that honestly or sincerely speaking, when you see the activities of campaign and the reaction of Nigerians residing in the FCT, you can be able to say, yes, the APC may probably dominate the 6 area council. But it's only one unfortunate thing that has happened, I think, day before yesterday in Buhari area council where we are here, that Shekolo Audi and Hassan Mohammed Musa, that are our party flag bearer, but a resolution or a judgment from Supreme Court changed them with the Honorable Joshua and Nasu as a party flag bearer. So this incident has happened in Amak in 2022, and that's what enabled the party PDP to come into power in Amak, due to the internal totals that we have. Close days to the election, a judgment was done in the at the Supreme Court, and that bring a chaos within the party, and there was an internal crisis. So I'm only seeing our challenges in that area. But when you look at Kwali Area Council, we have one man that is as powerful as more than a minister. That is Honorable Sadiq TPL is into business, and he has been contributing more than any politician, more than any presidential appointee in his area council. Not even in his hand is everywhere, and he's a APC party man. So I think with Sadiq, I believe we can be able to win in Kwali hands down. When you come to Amak, I was trying to...
Before you come to Amak, let's talk about Gwagwalada. Yeah. Gwagwalada Area Council has always been an area council that's all for itself. From time past, we've seen it. If the entire state FCT is going this way, Gwagwalada is going the other way. We've never had the time where the ruling party will emerge champion, winner in the Gwagwalada Area Council. With what is happening in Gwagwalada Area Council, do you see the possibility of another thing, another party, probably a core party or anybody springing up and causing upset?
Nobody in the Gwagwalada is going to defeat Usman.
How do you believe that?
Of course, politics is just like a football game.
Yeah.
You can be able to know the weakness of your defense and strikers that are to. So with that, I believe Sadiq, with people like Ahmad Dambaba and all the stakeholders that are in the APC in Gwagwalada, we are going to win our election hands down. I have started by telling you where we have problem, which is Buhari. So I don't see reason why, as a politician, you always try to be on selfish interest or protecting your personal interest. No, let us try to be honest and sincere to ourselves and to our people, so that whenever you come, people can be able to testify who you are.
Your candidate in the Amak Area Council, Mekalango, popularly called Mekalango,
who defeated me in the recent
primaries, is coming out again from PDP
yes.
to APC.
Yes.
But there is no major achievement that you can see Mekalago has done in Amakeda Council. I remember vividly where the Minister of FCT was lambasting him when he was saying they needed to do roads, they needed to do, and he was asking for the minister for support. And minister said, you have your own national budget. Why are you waiting on the Minister of FCT? And that man wants to come again. And you are supporting, I am
100% supporting him.
For a man who has not delivered.
He has delivered more than okay.
Tell me, can you
and find out? Honorable Christopher Zakame Kalangu was able to build 42 roads in different villages. The record is there. 42 roads constructed by Honorable Christopher Zakame Kalangu.
Where did you do that?
Go to towns, go to
because Amak is the area, is the center of Abuja.
People consider it that.
Yeah.
But go to Karshi village.
Okay.
There are people, there was a town, Cheta. He has built a road for them. He has built a primary school there. We were in campaign at on Gwambagi in still Karshi. He has done a road for them and street light, solar street light. Go to Gwagwa ward in Gwagwa and Jua. He has built a road in Jua and street light. There was a water project ongoing, boreholes in Orozu ward. There are so many projects that I don't have time to mention.
So
this guy has done well.
So you think Mekalangu is better than you?
Of course.
How do you mean? Because you love
Yes, he's better than me because he has given mandate and he has down. There's no that can defeat Honorable Christopher Zakame Kalangu in Amak because of the fact that he has done a lot. One, he is a man of the people that accommodate all other Nigerians within him. And this is one reason that gives me more courage to support him because he did not discriminate more like other people that
But you have better qualification than Mekalango.
But if I have better qualification than him, but he was given the mandate before now, and he was able to do a lot of good things to other Nigerians. So let us allow him to finish. If it is my turn or other turn, it will come to that. But for someone that is in power, that was able to leave his party and come to our party, we have to accommodate him. And considering the fact of the project he has executed and so many things that he has done in Amak, I think Mekalangu deserves a second term. And even people in Amak has testified to that. Go to all our villages that are in Amak, because I can say as with other figures like Atiku, Peter, or Bina Surya campaigning. How to win election in Amak, you have to know how to win before you even start campaigning or thinking that you can win. Normally used to be not come from nowhere and expect the to support you. They don't have minister, they don't have governor, they don't have state assembly. They only have the area council chairman and councillors. So how can you expect them not to fight for that mandate for themselves? And other Nigerians that are considering the inhabitant are still helping them toward getting what they're supposed to get.
So when we look at what happened at the last election, where Labour Party came and swayed so many people, even some of your cities in Indigene lost their position, like the former Senate representative on the House lost his seat, and a couple of others. Do you not foresee a situation like that happening again? Because Abuja is a cosmopolitan town.
Thank you so much for this question, and I wanted to call on other Nigerians' attention. FCT belongs to all of us.
Okay.
But in politics, we have to play politics with equity and fairness.
Okay.
That what happened in the previous election, as you have said, in the Labour Party, is a protest vote against the indigenous and what they are doing of domination and marginalization of other Nigerians living in FCT.
Okay.
So now we have come on board that they have agreed that they should sacrifice some certain positions to other Nigerians living in the Amak because we outnumber them. They are not more than 20 to 25%, while other Nigerians are 80 to 75% living in the Amak and contribution in all ramifications of life in the Amak. So we deserve to be considered. Other Nigerians deserve to be considered in the politics of the FCT. We have agreed now they can go with maybe I should use this opportunity in another way to thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu City, a minister, and in another way I can criticize him for even giving us the minister in FCT. So, but for an indigenous and people of FCT to have minister, at least they were considered. So probably they can sacrifice senator, member, House of Reps to other Nigerians.
So you do agree with that?
Of course, that the politics is going to be that when you give, you cannot eat your cake and have it. Give and take. That's how politics is supposed to be. But once the indigenous are trying, and we have been hearing what they are saying, if they ever try to see that they want to sweep everything away, other Nigerians are ready to harmonize, galvanize themselves and kick them out of all the positions.
But we have seen a situation where the FCT minister has bamboozled some other area council chairmen who are not of it to either join their party or be left in the lodge. You know, what do you think of? Because we see what Mekalango has done, dump PDP, join to APC because he wants to remain and he wants to return back to his post. Do you think this is politics?
Well, it is right in another way.
How do you make that? Make him
in APC, in PDP.
Yeah,
we see many of even their aspirants. The AMAC chairman in PDP himself. Well, other stakeholders DP have spoken about his house in Along. That perhaps Amak Amwari, Honorable Obika,
yes,
has now decamped in order to help Mekalangu to win his second term. Likewise, the same Adude is romancing us, or has decamped a former senator in order to help Christopher Azaka Mekalangu. Me being an aspirant who contested with him and other aspirants, who were about 7 of us, has already merged in order to help him. More especially, I have said it in many different places, that Zaka Mekalangu was considered because of his personal character, that he's a man that accommodates all. He has a listening ears to Nigerians. So with that, I believe, and when you look at the ticket, as I've earlier said, if you wanted to win a ticket in AMAC, try to carry all along. Don't discriminate a religion or tribe or else, because these are ingredients that you cannot separate them with the Nigerian politics.
But some people will think the reason why you are supporting Mekalangu is because you have been taken care of. Well, how do you react to that?
No.
Nobody has promised. Because the way you are vocal about the support for Mekalangu, even when some people think he has not done enough to come again, that probably you have been promised that if he emerges as a way to be properly taken care of.
Well, the reason why I supported Mekalangu is, let me make it clear.
Okay.
I deserve to be respected and honored. He has respected me. I went to 2 different courts, Federal High Court and Magistrate.
The challenge
his ticket. But he has come to me and begged me that, please, you are my brother. Let us settle court. Political, let it be political solution. So someone that is in power can go to your uncle, can visit your friends and tell them to beg you that you should please forget or forgive him, let's march. If you can't do that, then how somebody to do it to you tomorrow? That is the reason why I consider Christopher Azaka Mekalangu. And I have looked into his ticket. I can see balance of winning. Because as how election in AMAC, especially, you must have either an indigenous and non-indigenous. And that ticket has that. All other Nigerians, by having Honorable Yusuf Nadabo as his role as Nigerian Christopher Zakame Kalangu and Christian consider that yes, this is our ticket because our brother in the religion or origin is in the ticket. So the ticket has balance. You cannot bring two aspirants in that AMAC and say you discriminate, you bring only Muslim, or you bring only Christian, or you bring only non-indigenous. No, it doesn't balance. So other people or other parties that has done those, that has able to produce their candidate to that aspect, they have already, I can say, shoot themselves in their legs. They miscalculate. So that's what enable Chris Zakame Kalangu, I can say, is just like this election is just like we are going to say it's a walkover.
Away from Amak Area Council, let's take a look at Kuje Area Council. What do you think will happen in Kuje Area Council? You see the comments coming back?
Of course. No, he's trying. He's trying. No, he's trying. He's doing well. And we have no more challenges there. Okay. Right from his primary, the house is all intact.
And nobody's challenging.
Yes, it's only Abaji we have crisis. Let me
okay. And just like Wari.
Yes,
yeah.
But being Abubakar, being someone that is very calculative, he was able to go clear the people they can to whom they like. They are not with him or trying to fight him. I think they are doing their personal interest. Yes, and the electorate were able to understand that. And he's very young and energetic, chairman that is doing well in Abaji. So we are hoping him to come back.
Well, you're not so sure.
No, sure, Sadiq is coming back.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want, I can tell you, I know I'm going to win.
Look at the antecedent of Abaji Area Council. The election has always been not so straightforward.
No, what happened in that, similar to what has happened in his previous, in his 2022 election.
Yeah.
It's a judgment, it's a court judgment that brought him into the power. So how is the same case that was done in Buhari was held on until after the election when the house is fully intact. They have win, then the court may decide who is the winner. Done that one, so the court can still change you. Okay. So that's how so the also go and in Buhari let themselves a party. If you lose, they should know how it feels.
Your party has been accused of causing internal wranglings among other opposition parties. For example, PDP. People want to
party. You should understand one thing. Party and stakeholder that has influence and government are different. So, and it is a policy or way of doing politics. I see no reason why in politics, if I can win with 5.5, why should I decide I must carry 9.5 or that down? It will be a burden for me.
Okay.
And I believe opposition are winning because room for you can be able to see the challenges ahead of you and how you can be able to correct your mistakes. But if you are able to have one party system, me in person, I'm not in support of that. Well, on the issue of the opposition that they were able to find themselves in that situation, I think Nigerians are still watching. And I'm assuring you, Nigeria will face a serious election come 2027. There will be a magic. Yeah.
Interesting idea.
Yeah. And I think before we go further, I don't know about our time, but I wanted to call on other Nigerians and plead with them that they should please come in mass and both this area council election, in the sense that the Honorable Commissioner of Police, Dantawa, is doing his best, and he has given a lot of, information and their readiness in order to tackle all crises that may election day. They are very well prepared in order to contribute toward a better election. At the same time, I can say the director of the DSS, because I was yesterday in Yanya holding a meeting with other organizations, but because they were there within us and they were able to interact. So I'm appealing that Nigerians should come in mass and demonstrate how the 2027 will be through this election.
So do you think with APC, if APC happens to sweep council election in FCT, that could give us an inkling of what will happen in 2027?
No, not necessarily.
So with APC winning all the local area council election, timing that they also do.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
But do you think APC has what it takes to dominate the FCT election?
Yeah, it has, because what I was saying is that oppositions are not ready and prepared to solve themselves. They don't mean the business. You calculate, politics is a game of number and calculation. If you miscalculate, you lose it at all.
Exactly.
So they are betting. All the fun and the corner of the country is the vice. Likewise, an Igbo is an aspirant in ZLFP. An Igbo is an aspirant in
SDP.
You can say scat.
When you look now, go the way of
course.
So panel right there with Azan, the train federal elected. Okay, that will be good. Panel right there. Okay, there has not been much campaign by the candidates. That they waited too late before they start campaign. Do you notice that too? Like what it used to be, where you see months before the election, there will be campaign all over the place. This time around, before we started seeing any major campaign, was like a week before the election. Do you notice that?
Yes, I have noticed that, because it is yesterday that Mekalango was able to round up the 2 awards we have. So I think it is fair for him. He has finished just yesterday, and I think he was able to lead to that yesterday, and then due to some certain factors that he lost someone, so he has to mourn. But it happened that way, and I think there are, campaign on the underground campaigns where you will be going secretly to
meeting the power blocks.
Yes.
To seek for support
for you. So that's what happened.
Okay, it's been an interesting time talking with Honorable Azan Aske, ahead of the FCT area council election scheduled for this Saturday, 21st of February. So all electorate should go all out and vote the candidate of your choice, and let's see what will happen at the end of it. I must say a big thank you to you for joining us this morning and for shedding light on this, and also as we're looking forward to the election on Saturday. So the honor now rests with the citizens to go all out and vote their choice, vote their heart, and vote the candidate. Thank you so much for joining us from the Abuja Network Studio. We'll take a quick break before we link up with our Lagos Network Studio.
Many thanks for joining us this beautiful morning on ITV TMI, the continuation on news and current affairs program. I am Marcelina Unkwa. All right, from our Lagos network this morning, we're having two guests. We'll be having Barrister Adams. He's a legal practitioner and also a multi-skilled professional. Good morning.
Yes, thank you for having me this beautiful morning.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And also joining via Zoom, we'll be having Dr. Victor Ohai. He is a humanitarian ambassador. Dr. Victor, good morning.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. Okay, this morning we would be talking about electronic transfer of results. It has triggered protests against 2027 election. We would be focusing on 2027. I mean, last week we saw that protesters came out to protest that they do not want manual. You know, the Senate president said that, okay, we would be manual as
The Ekoko masquerades from Ute village, whose cult is connected with...
It is now trending and moving towards, what is it called, digital age. and then you are now narrowing down yourself to analog. Who does that? I'm not party to that.
Okay, Barrister Atta, I'll come back to you. Let's go to Dr. Victor Oha, if you can hear me. We would like to get your take on this. I mean, we saw yesterday the protest, and those protesters were even tear-gassed. They came out last week to protest, and yesterday again, they were out to protest that all we want is a free and fair election. We do not want manual. We want just electronic transmission of results. We do not want manual. Stop telling us that once it fails, we would, fall back to manual. Manual would be our alternative. What is your take on this, Dr. Victor Oha, if you can hear me?
Yes, I can, and I hope you can hear me. Please.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I think that our representatives have forgotten that what we're practicing is representative democracy. Where the people go and, represent you at the National Assembly, not their own personal interests. It is important that they are sensitive to the wish of Nigerians. But what you are finding is a situation where if you get to the National Assembly, they do whatever they think is in their best interest. That's not very good. They should be listening, and they can take it. I know the argument may now be that, okay, this the opposition is making one pushing them and all that. But whatever happens for everybody, whether it is manual transmission or electronic transmission, it affects everybody. So what's wrong with it? The argument has been made. POS is done even in the remotest part of Nigeria. That's what it's talking about. If they want to make a delay, but once you initiate, there might be a delay, but it gets there. That's the important thing. It gets there faster than your manual results to get to the center. Because you have to travel. There are logistics from one place to the other. So the reason for the electronic is to ensure that from the point of voting to the point of election, no story, no manipulation, no woman. I think that we should be able to adopt. If you do, people may say you cannot have your manual record, but we should be able to adopt the two together. I think that if the National Assembly members know what Nigerians are saying, they might not be able to contend with what will be days coming.
Okay, Dr. Victor, we'll be coming back to you. Barrister Atta, from a constitutional law perspective, which version of the bill better protects Nigerians' right to vote and have their votes counted accurately?
Well, if you are talking about the right to vote, it's a constitutional matter. It is part and parcel of your rights to vote and to contest in an election, assuming you want to contest. Maybe you want to contest for the president or the governor. It is your right, except that you are restricted by one or two conditions. But however, the Electoral Act is still another law that regulates our right to vote. The Section 60 that is subject of dispute now is also important. And that is why the court held in the case of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, INEC and others, that is important that the National Assembly try as much as possible to incorporate what is it, Section 60, subsection 3 or 2 thereabout, 3 thereabout, and make it a law and make it a specific law, not referring to a guideline. So that's what Nigerians are saying. So I think, for me, I think that electronic transmission is the best for our dear country, not this manual that these people are. But however, I have been telling people, let us not go back home and go and sleep. Whether it's electronic transmission, whether it's a transfer, manual transfer, as is being alleged, these people will still manipulate the system. They will manipulate it. Is it not when you are being given opportunity to vote? Vote buying is there. They will buy your vote, and then when you vote, they will transmit it. Is it not what you see that you are going to transmit? Assuming I bought all the eligible voters that came to vote, assuming that the polling units will have about 7,000 people, and then I bought all the all the people that came out to vote, and then the result is in favor of a particular party. Is that not what you are going to transmit? So we equally need to fight collectively, not forum shopping as to our levels of fighting. If we say we are Nigerians, let us stand firm, not just vote, not just transmission. We should equally fight against what is it called vote buying.
So what you were saying, Barrister Atta, is even if we are still using the electoral transmission of resort, that it will still be manipulated. This person will still manipulate.
Yes, because look at where manipulation come about. One, is a vote buying. Is it not the result that you have that you are going to transmit at the end of the day? Before you start transmitting, all the eligible voters have been bought. All the eligible voters, they have paid them off, and then they ensure that they follow it up and everything. And you see that these people, Nigerians, hungry Nigerians, who for anything will see that their rights are being sold, they will collect money and then they will go and vote for that party that pay them. Is it not the result you see you are going to transmit? If you see a result that favor A all through, is that not what you are going to transmit? So we need to look at underneath the issue. It's not just on the surface. Apart from that, they will still hack the system.
Okay, let's go back to Dr. Victor. Dr. Victor, we saw the protest yesterday in Abuja, and where the protesters, at first it was peaceful, then later they were tear-gassed. Has it become a norm in Nigeria that whenever people come out to protest, they would be tear-gassed? Because, I mean, the last protest wasn't like this compared to, I'm talking about the one of last week. It wasn't like this compared to the one of yesterday. And we saw people running for their life because they were being tear-gassed. What would you say? Has it become a norm in Nigeria that whenever protesters come out for peaceful protests, they later get tear-gassed? What would you have to say about that?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
So we have seen, in this country, we have seen reasonable commissioners of police who have engaged protesters and even provided, covering for them and contain them when they're protesting. When you use violence, it can only escalate. I don't know who is in charge or who was responsible, but I think they are approaching and starting something of the it's not even precedent. It's always happened. Violence every time as a response. I don't know if that's high standard what to call it, but it's very, very wrong. These are fellow Nigerians. Your brothers, your sisters, they're not asking for anything else. They're just asking that votes count. And the way they know that votes will count, that will give them confidence, is through electronic transmission of votes. Is it 100% foolproof? Not necessarily. I mean, as a former presidential candidate myself, I recall that a time back, 2019, when I contested, a guy came and approached me at the time. He said, "As the technology, of course, it could be formed or whatever, but you can't discount nothing on this one." Like he had a technology where he could hack into a system and then choose results and all that. Of course, I looked at it.
Wow.
But you see, the mere fact that it could suggest such a thing means that it is not in, right? That's why I don't agree with that. Apart from the issue of vote buying, this guy's always got the politicians always have to step ahead. But the reason we are insisting that electronic transmission is important is, if you like the idea of vote buying, whatever it is, you buy in one place, buy in another, it may not happen everywhere. That's what happens at the polling booth, whether they vote the vote or not. Let that be what be reflected. Not getting closer to our democratic world, what happens between the point of voting and the collation center. You begin to see all sorts of manipulations, all sorts of things. You know, and at the end of the day, it takes away the credibility of the election and it's proper. You get people that you did not vote for. If you voted for the devil, then you prepare to let the devil be in power. But not that you vote for the devil and somebody else comes and wins them. If you are voting for your candidate, that's who you want. And you are ready to live with the country. That's what Nigerians are asking for. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, that's what Nigerians are asking for. That's what the protesters, they're asking for. We want a free and fair election. We want our vote to count. Barrister Atta, you saw the protests yesterday, the protesters rather yesterday, where they were being tear-gassed. And it's got me asking and got a lot of Nigerians asking, is it a normal thing now in Nigeria that whenever protesters come out for a peaceful protest, they are being tear-gassed, you know, to you know, distract everyone at that moment from what is going on. Like, they just, at that point, everybody wants to run for their lives because, I mean, tear gas is not a good thing in the system and they want to run for their life. Is it now in norms? Nigerians are coming out for peaceful protests. This is what we want. We do not want manual. We want our results to be, you know, we want the electronic transmission of results. Is it too difficult? I mean, is it a big thing to ask the government or to ask the Senate? This is what we want. And these persons came out to protest and they will be tear-gassed. What would you have to say about that?
Let me start my sermon that when a bird perches on a rope, you must be ready to dance with the rope.
I like your sermon. You're always...
And I want to say that we voted these people there. They must listen to us. That is the intention of the maker of the Constitution. It's not lawlessness. The Constitution belongs to the people. The whole essence of democracy is that it's government that is all-inclusive. It is for you and I and every other person. It's not a government that is for forum shopping up and down and everything. Now let me narrow it down to your question. You have asked whether it's a bad thing for Nigerians to demand for accountability. It's not a bad thing. We put them there. We can demand for accountability, demand for respect for rule of law, and as much as possible, we can equally see that this is how we want it. Who are they? What is their number compared to the whole Nigerians? We are running to 200 millions. What is their number? Are they up to 2,000 at the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly or how? So my point is certain that now that the police are not respecting themselves, are not respecting the provisions of the Constitution that give power to people to exercise their rights of peaceful protest, they are now going ahead to tear-gas Nigerians. It's so bad and so disheartening. And more importantly, that the provisions of the Police Act expressly say that the job description of the police is for the protection of properties and life. Well, how can you now be killing the people you are said to protect? If they are dead, who are you going to protect? Who are you going to govern? So, like I said, I want to call on Mr. President quickly. I want to call on Mr. President forthwith to do something. Otherwise, this matter is going to go all over the states in the Federation. This matter of this protest, for the fact that people in other parts of the Federation are silent, does not mean we are full. Does not mean we are not concerned about what our brothers and sisters and colleagues are doing in FCT. I share whoever that is being affected, I share in their loss, because apparently some of them may not be health-wise, may not be okay for that tear gas, and then you abruptly go out and start tear gassing people. It's wrong. And
do you know that I saw a video where Showere said that this tear gas was actually present, that it's not the normal tear gas that... How can it determine? Let us tell us. Is poison. How? Yes. All right, Dr. Victor Ohai, do you see political interests shaping this debate? I mean, for example, the ruling party versus the opposition party, or lawmakers representing different constituency. Do you see political interests shaping this debate?
To a very large extent, I see it. And the reason being that the ruling party is absolutely sure that the people that are with it wouldn't need to worry about it. Heads they will win, tails they will win, because it means that they're a popular party. But when you find a situation where people are trying to make sure that they block the wishes of the people, electronic transmission online would not just the present, but the future. This is an age where everything is just digital. Why should you oppose it? If that's what the people want, and you're very, very sure that you're popular, that your policies are popular, then I expect that they would naturally, go with it. What is the issue here? With INEC, now let me shock you. Years ago, and when I say years ago, not less than 12 to 15 years ago, I saw a video of electronic voting. I'm not even talking about transmission. I don't know if any of you saw it. Electronic voting. It was tested by INEC. And the people who were doing the voting were Hausa people. It was being done in Hausa language. They were, I saw the machine. Okay? We have tested this thing, and it worked. So they have had access to all forms of electronic technology. They have tested everything that have worked. Okay? Now this thing is, what we're talking about is a guideline already in INEC books. We know that INEC already, even the, what do you call it now, the current INEC chairman has said that the elections in Abuja, the county elections there, will be electronically transmitted. INEC is ready. My question is, if the umpires are ready, then what how do I put it now? Can the National Assembly know better than the umpires who have tried and tested all these methods, who know what works, and are sure, and they are telling Nigerians that they are ready that this thing work? Obviously, the only other interest will just be politics, nothing else. And when you say politics, it simply means they are interested in manipulating votes.
Wow.
They want to continue their rigging. They're not interested in our votes counting.
Interesting. All right, Dr. Victor said they're not interested in our votes count. They're interested in manipulating this whole result stuff. Okay, let's get your final take, Barrister Atta.
Yes, my final take is that freedom is all given voluntarily. People are beginning to fight. They're using the social media crusade. They're exercising their right pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution. All that we're saying is amend the law so that we can have a free and fair election. Are we demanding so much? Let them do it.
All right, Barrister Atta said amend the law. What we are asking, what Nigeria wants, is a free and fair election. Let our votes count. I mean, that is also what Nigerians, the people out there that are protesting, that is what they want. Thank you so much, Barrister Atta Adams, for
thank you for having me,
helping us analyze today's topic. And thank you so much, Dr. Victor Ohai, for joining us on this morning program. All right, thank you all our viewers. Thank you, Nigerians, for joining our Lagos Network studio this beautiful morning on TMI. We would be handing over to Benin for the continuation on TMI. I am Marcelina Onkwo. Do stay with us.
The Ekoko masquerades from Ute village, whose cult is connected with Obaewari and his mother, Elere, appear on this occasion to bless the
Good morning. Welcome to the news update on Independent Television. I am Ihoy Davis. The Zonal Commander, Major Road Safety Corps, FRSC Zone 5 Benin, Assistant Corps Marshal Joseph Toby says the fatherly disposition of the Honorary Romanian Consul to Edo and Delta States of Nigeria, His Excellency, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawaro Igbenedier, Esama of Benin, has continued to serve as a source of encouragement to all, especially the FRSC. The FRSC Zonal Commander stated this while on a courtesy visit to the Patriarch in Benin City. Pius Nsogo has details.
The Assistant Corps Marshal, FRSC, Joseph Toby, said following his recent posting to Zone 5 FRSC, which comprises Edo, Delta, and Anambra states, he deemed it necessary to visit the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawari Benedium, whom he said has distinguished himself in all spheres of human endeavor and deserves to be honored. The visit, he said, was to tap from his wealth of experience.
I don't think there's anybody in Nigeria today that knows the history of Nigeria that will tell you they don't know who the Esama is. Like I jokingly told him, so when you see Okada today, you are going to see the man, the place he comes from, where they are calling this Okada nationwide.
The Esama of Benin, an honorary Romanian consul to Edo and Delta states of Nigeria, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawari Benedium, commended the zonal commander for his kind gesture and prayed that his tenure in office will be a rewarding one.
And when we have a good relationship with, we don't say things, so happy you are growing. So the natural have relationship what they having with you. So at your home, you can't buy that just the first time telling you. So don't hesitate, anything that's put your face, let me know.
The Benin zone of the Federal Road Safety Corps is officially referred to as RS5 HQ Benin, or simply Zone 5, and is located at Ishakure Way off Kilometer 6 Saple Road, Benin City, Edo State. It oversees operations in Edo, Delta, and Anambra states. From Benin, Pius Nsogo, ITV News.
Acting Chairman, Orado Local Government Area, Engineer Gabriel Uduseri, has reiterated that the ban on illegal ticketing by the Edo State government is in full force, warning that no official or unauthorized individuals should be found flouting the directive under any guise. Engineer Uduseri made this known while Orado Task Force apprehended some individuals allegedly involved in illegal ticketing activities within the city center. Efosa Unwangwe has details.
A few months ago, Edo State government banned all forms of ticketing in the state as the nuisance it constitutes painted the name of the state in bad light. Acting chairman of Oedo local government, Engineer Uduseri, reiterated that the ban is still in force after an illegal ticket operator was apprehended. He said the council will not tolerate any act capable of undermining public order or exploiting residents and transport operators. This was one of the reasons, according to him, the council boss convened a strategic security meeting with the 23 sectors of the Edo State Security Corps, where emphasis was laid on enforcing the ban, particularly following its intervention at Ugbo Market. However, saddened by the recent incident linked to illegal ticketing that led to the loss of lives, Engineer Uduseri urged the people of Edo local government area to remain calm, assuring them that his administration is working closely with all security stakeholders to curb the menace and restore lasting peace and order.
This is illegal. 100% illegal, and I did permit this. The governor has given an instruction that nobody should collect revenue from anybody. And if you are found doing so, you are on your own. I have no hand in it, and I did not get such instruction. So today, I'm handing over these 3 men to the police station and the prosecutor court for violating the laws.
Meanwhile, Engineer Gabriel Uduseri has commended the outgoing chairman of the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, NOGE, Comrade John Osaboyen, for his exemplary leadership and unwavering support for the management and staff of the local government. He said Comrade Osaboyen's tenure was marked by peace, stability, and constructive collaboration, which contributed to harmonious working environment within the council. From Benin, Efosa Uwangwe, ITV News.
The member representing Igor and Ikpobaha Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Murphy Osaro Omori, says reducing poverty remains a top priority of his mandate. He stated this during the presentation of compressed natural gas conversion kits to participants at a youth skill acquisition and empowerment program in Igor and Ikpobaha local government areas. Thomas Sado has details.
Skill acquisition as a solution to unemployment has continued to shape the empowerment drive of Honorable Murphy Omoyi. At this program, youths from across Ego Ikpobaoka Federal Constituency were trained on how to convert petrol-powered vehicles to CNG-compatible vehicles, an emerging and cost-effective alternative in Nigeria's energy sector. Addressing the participants, Honorable Omoyi highlighted several empowerment initiatives he has facilitated, noting that many beneficiaries are now self-reliant. He urged the trainees to make productive use of the skills acquired, stressing that the goal is to create job creators rather than job seekers.
I am particularly proud of this empowerment that we have embarked on because I know that this is the key to reducing poverty. It is the key to reducing unemployment, and it is the key to creating wealth, not only for this generation, but for generations yet unborn.
A major highlight of the event was the presentation of CNG conversion kits to the trainees. Participants were also taken through practical sessions on converting petrol vehicles to run on CNG. Some beneficiaries expressed appreciation for the initiative.
I'm very grateful to Honorable Murphy Osaro Omoruyi for this empowerment. This is a laudable move by Honorable Murphy Osaro Omoruyi. In 4 to 5 days, he has trained young engineers.
If you look at Ikpoboka and Ego local government, you discover that there is no CNG conversion center. But Honorable have deemed it fit that in the 2 local governments within his constituency, that such program is going to happen.
Although the training is ongoing, Honorable Omoyi disclosed that additional skill acquisition programs will soon be rolled out to further empower constituents. Thomas Sado, ITV News.
In a bid to broaden their knowledge of modern-day broadcasting, students of Texas Comprehensive Academy, in company of their teachers on Monday, visited the communications complex of Independent Television and Radio, Iguasa Benin City, on excursion. Patience Osarugiwa has details.
On arrival at the Communications Complex of Independent Television and Radio, the students were received by the head of Presentation Department, Mr. Wixon Omasho, who conducted them on a guided tour of the station's modern digital broadcast facilities. During the tour, the students visited the television and radio studios, library, editing suites, transmission mast, and transmitter house, where they were enlightened on the practical processes involved in broadcasting. Mr. Marshall also educated the students on media operations, including program production, presentation techniques, and signal transmission.
Another most important thing in the TV studio for what? The camera. We have 3 cameras here in the studio. We have camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3.
Some of the students and their teachers expressed appreciation to the management of ITV and Radio for the opportunity to visit the station on excursion. They said the educational tour aligns with the academic curriculum and has enhanced their understanding of mass communication.
Very much for this wonderful opportunity. I learned a lot of things. The screens, the mics, the sound, the chroma, the prompter. I just want to say thank you.
I like the experience. It was fun. I learned a lot of things.
I learned that the tools that are mostly needed in the TV station are lighter camera.
Management of Independent Television and Radio. I want to thank you all for accepting our offer and bringing us here, show us around. I learned a lot.
According to the school authorities, the excursion was designed to expose students to career opportunities in the media industry while strengthening their practical knowledge of broadcasting. From Benin, Patience Osarugiwa, ITV News.
This is where we'll call it a wrap on the news update at this time. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ikot Davis. Good morning.
ITV, certainly the best.
Oba. A koko is a ritual masquerade that dances to please the guests and the Oba.
People, it's another beautiful Wednesday morning where we talk about trending stories making waves on social media and, of course, people's reaction about a particular story. I am Marcelina, and our first story today, we saw the drama that happened yesterday at the House of Representatives as Rep members clashed with Deputy Speaker Ben Kalu over the Electoral Act amendment. Deputy Speaker Ben Kalu moved to carry out Section 10 clauses at a time, but the majority of the members demanded consideration of the amendment clause by clause, which caused an uproar during plenary. Ben Kalu then ignores all calls by the members, carrying on. The drama continued for some minutes, prompting Deputy Speaker Ben Kalu to reverse. Kalu is now taking the electoral amendment clause. This particular video has caught a lot of people talking on social media, you know, people with different reactions. Take a look at the video before we go to the reactions.
Clause 64. No. Clause 64. No.
works and actively recall these legislators and send representatives who do what the people want. We should all forget the coming elections. Let's take a look at another reaction. This other person says they are taking the Electoral Act clause by clause. Every part matters because it's a fact vote. Leaders must listen to the people and not just push things through. This is how it should be. Okay, let's take a look at another reaction. This other person, Omogun, says, as they were shouting APC Ole, you would think that they would never have anything to do with part of their life. I won't be surprised if any of them comes to APC tomorrow. Trust politicians at your own room. Let's take a look at another reaction. This other person says, the people who have elected from our grassroots to represent us at the House of Reps and Assembly have failed us woefully. How can they be asking for a point of order while that's Ben continue reading paragraphs instead of reading the clauses? Ape Ole. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Okay, says, the arrogancy of this Benjamin Kalu is mind-blowing. Imagine what the Nigerian parliament has been reduced to. I blame the Nigerian people for enabling those criminals to continue in power. Let's take a look at another reaction. Okay, we're still on CMI Socials, but we'll talk about trending stories making waves on social media. And of course, to get people's reaction about each story. Yesterday, we saw the protest in Abuja about the electronic transmission of results for the forthcoming 2027 election. And the protesters yesterday were tear-gassed. During the protest, they were being tear-gassed. And a lot of things, you know, have been coming out to say that. Does this mean that Nigerians cannot go out to protest and air their minds for those things without you know, something happening? I mean, at first it was a peaceful protest, but later they were being tear-gassed. And this particular video has gotten a lot of people talking. Take a look at the video before we go to the reaction. I mean, what Nigerian wants at this point is a free and fair election. Both countries want free and fair election. That is why these people came out to protest. But now, I mean, during the protest yesterday, you saw that they were being tear-gassed and their life is at risk. Come early, so let's just worry. Okay, the said wizard in a global during after a protest extends to another week, they attack back at the protesters with force. They won't abide to what they're protesting, but will attack them by forcing them to stop the protest. Wash and rinse. Let's take a look at another reaction. This other person said, peaceful protests should never be violent, especially when citizens are advocating for transparency and accountability in elections. Incidents like this are light issues when practice need for people rights. Take a look at Mr. As the electoral election with peacefully demand transparency and accountability. Suppressing peaceful voices with force only weakens public trust. This is condemning honest. Acceptable. Let's take a look at another reaction. This other person said, yes, the optics and embarrassing, but electoral reforms are not minor matters. If lawmakers are clashing over the rules of election, that tells you how consequent this rule. Citizens did not vote. The reaction says, citizen demanding parents real-time electronic transmission of results should be able to protest peacefully without facing force. When accountability calls are met with tear gas, it raises serious questions about civic space and the health of democratic engagement. And let's take a look at another reaction. Chris says, we ask for money or palliatives. We are asking for our vote to count in real time. How is this a crime in a democracy? If you believe real-time electronic transmission is non-negotiable for the next election, okay, let's take it like that is all we've got on that. They want a free and fair. You know, when we come out to vote, let our votes count. Is that what we ask for? That is what once. Okay, this is all we've got for you on TMI Socials this beautiful morning from our Lagos Network studio. I am Marcelina. Thank you all our viewers for joining. And Evans is on standby. Over to you, Evans, if you can hear me.
Well, thank you so much, Marcelina. That's the election. It will come and it will go, and Nigeria remains. We must ensure that we know that. We keep on thinking about that, and so that we don't tear the nation apart. Like what we said, that the last is yet to be heard, and we understand that INEC is looking at new dates because of the reactions and the counter reactions that we discussed on our Benin Network Center this morning. Well, on behalf of my co-anchor from Benin, Wilson Omasha, I want to say thank you so much for watching the program today. Until the same time tomorrow on the same program. My name is Evan Sunohugi. Good morning.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.